Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of Mission Improvement. Today, we have a bit of a change of scenery, busting out the kayak. Finally, we are getting the kayak out. I've been using the boat a lot lately and I forgot how much work it actually was involved in taking this thing out. So, I have it all set up here. Today we are going to be going over and testing out some of the modifications that I've done to it because I have a trip tomorrow and I want to make sure this thing still floats after I poked quite a few holes into it. Got everything set up. We're going to go drag it down to the landing real quick and we're going to get on our way. Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mission for Fishing. In today's episode, I'm going to be taking a look and doing a review over this kayak. You can see we're out on the water here. Questionable if I should really be bringing this big of a camera onto this kayak. I upgraded this thing a few months ago. Basically, this thing has just been sitting. I'm going to be honest, guys, I have an addiction, and that would be using my actual boat. I have a 12-foot boat for those of you who do not know already. And I use that quite a bit. So it's kind of gotten in the way of using the kayak because it's so much easier to use. However, when you need to fish, you need to fish. And a small boat without a trolling motor doesn't really cut the bill very well. So if you look just off behind me here, there is Caleb in his boat. So yeah, we're going to do a little bit of fishing today. And hopefully we can make something happen. I'm also going to go over and show you guys how these things actually work on the water and give you guys overall like 2 months later of what I still think of the kayak. So stay tuned, stick with it, and enjoy today's episode. So right now what we are hucking out there is I switched up from a jig and now we're using this large I believe this is a half ounce, maybe it's a quarter ounce, monstrous chartreuse spinnerbait here. And the reason for that is I want something that's going to be very visible to the bass as this water is very dirty. I can also control the depth at which this thing comes back at. So I'm keeping it very high because what we have here is we have these reeds, and then we have just below the surface out from it by about 5-10 feet are these weeds that come just to the surface. They don't break the surface of the water, but they come right to it. So I want to be right at the top of that. Alternately, a buzzbait should theoretically work very well in this application as well. However, I just... Oh, that's a big one. That's really big. That's really big. This is really big. Oh my goodness. Come here. As I was saying, what? I don't have a scale with me today. This guy has some chompers on him. Look at that. That is a monstrous bass right there. If I were to make an educated guess for you guys, this would have to be a good 5 pound. That is easily my biggest bass of the year right now. We're going to let this guy go. All right. Now go have some fun. Oh, wow. As I was saying, I'm chucking out the spinnerbait because I want it to be very visible for these fish in this lake as this water clarity is very dirty. So first day on the kayak for 2020 is going halfway decent, I'd say. Alright everyone, so enough of the little fishing. Now we're going to actually dive into what is today's subject of the video, which is kayak upgrades. Really going over and showing you them in person and demonstrating how they work. So starting from the front and I suppose going to the back of the yak. I didn't show this in kayak upgrades, nobody really cares. This is just my tripod mount for my big camera. This is supposed to be a paddle key, so if you ever wanted to tether your paddle to your kayak, you're supposed to do so from here to here so then you never lose it, but I use it to anchor my tripod. And this is the anchor trolley, so you can see I have all of my line wrapped up on this anchor cleat. Now this is not a great setup here. Ideally you'd have a retractable anchor system, which the spinnerbait kayak covered, but unfortunately I have not installed that, and I don't know how that'd work with this. The extra line is a bit of an issue. Wherever I'm fishing, I never really change depths, meaning that I just kind of work the shoreline, and that's usually a consistent depth all the way throughout the lake, so then I can just drop the anchor, and it's set at the right height every single time. So bass fishing is fine. If you were to do anything else where you'd need an anchor, I don't think it'd be very enjoyable because then you'd have to tie it all up again when you set new depth and whatever. But it works for the time being. The cleat is holding on just fine. Those 2 screws are working out very well. The anchor trolley itself, so here is the carabiner, so top line, bottom line, is so easy to do. I could literally do it with 1 finger. It is just buttery smooth, but it is just super easy with those pulleys to move this thing. And on my old kayak it was very rough, and this is by far a much better setup. So that covers all of the anchor trolley area. Right on the bottom of the kayak there's those black floating things, and that's actually part of this, this is grip tape. It's part of it. It like comes off kind of. It is starting to come off a little bit. I don't know how well that's actually going to work out, but these are very solid with the bottom of the kayak. That adhesive worked extremely well on the back of these. So I would highly recommend that. I really like these things, and they do add a ton of grip, so it removed the entire slipping issue. Into the inside of the kayak, here is the dry box, and here's the chip bag clip. Now the chip bag clip did come off. It wasn't the greatest idea to use Gorilla Glue. I really didn't think it was going to work, but I did it anyways. And I also realized after I made the video, I'm like, I could have just left a little bit of line out here from that dry box, and then it still can't go anywhere because it's locked in with that lid. Now, is the lid really watertight? I don't think so, but if it's on top of the deck, if it's actually going to cause a catastrophic failure for your kayak. Moving to the seat, I don't have the blue seat pad because it is broken. I broke it on a trip in my boat, and I'm stuck with this piece of garbage. It's literally a ½ inch of nothing. It's worthless. So moving back farther, this is the world's best bug spray for gnats, BUGG, the green stuff. Here is the main thing. So this is the melt crate, and this is, I think, the last upgrade that I did in my kayak upgrades. So I have my selfie stick here for my camera, which works out fine. All the rod holders are doing just fine. If you watch my video, all I did was I transferred everything over from that yellow melt crate to this black one because I wanted a lid, and black just was a lot better looking in my opinion. Opening this up, I had a viewer comment this, and because my soft baits, I mentioned in the video that it's almost impossible to fish with these, or to keep them in this melt crate without them falling off or whatever. You can lay them on top of the tackle trays, but then you got to move them and then you get to the tackle trays. What a viewer commented is they suggested putting hooks on the underside of this, so whenever I lift it up, I can get access to them. It's a great idea. I might just use it. I'm a little concerned with if I'm going to be able to reach back far enough, but I might try it. This tackle solution, this melt crate, is so much better because I can fit so many more boxes. I believe I have 8 in here like this, and then I can fit 2 additional more on top for a total of 10 whole Plano 520 boxes. That's a lot of tackle. That is a ton of room for tackle. So tackle storage is not really a big issue. It's more so I have to get rid of 2 of these in order to gain access to all of these. And you could even get really organized, and you could like have a label maker and like make all of these like crankbaits, Sinkos, whatever. So a guy could really go nuts as far as that goes. But for right now, what I've been doing is I've just been setting these baits on top. Usually if I'm using a bait, I just leave it out somewhere on deck so I have easy access to it when I'm using it. But if I want to switch up baits, it's a little challenging, but it works. But yeah, so PVC pipes are doing just fine as far as storage goes. I also have these two. I can store a total of 8 rods, 9 if you really want to include that rod holder in the front there, which is very crazy. So you can store a ton of stuff. I think that is pretty much it for everything that I've done to this kayak here. I'm really enjoying the setup here. Super happy with the way that this turned out. Everything works pretty well, and I love it a lot. So it's really a shame. I really need to take this thing out more this summer, and I have plans to do so. So if you guys want to see all of those adventures, be sure to hit that subscribe button, tap that bell icon, because we have a ton of stuff coming in the future for kayak stuff. So, all right, everyone. All right, just gonna pull up the anchor here. Right back there. And here we go. Wow, that is one gorgeous sunset. Alright everyone, so welcome back. I didn't film a lot of that because my batteries are actually dead. We are off the water now, Caleb and I. I caught one big bass, missed one. Caleb really didn't fish much. Oh well. See, we got the yak all loaded up. This is where, when I say having a boat is so much easier, you don't have to run these straps through the door. All 5 straps through the doors. I mean, all that I have when I got the boat is I just have this receiver tube and I just go plunk. It is so much easier than the kayak, but ultimately at the end of the day, the kayak is just such a different and such a better in certain applications for fishing machine, really. And even with the new upgrades, it's a killer beast, I gotta say. So you're gonna be seeing a lot more of the kayak this summer. I love this thing right now. I think all of the added upgrades and improvements was a huge success and addition. If you guys are looking to do some of these, you can look at my other video, which is linked up in the top corner right now. I'll also be linking all of the parts that I use to the kayak upgrade in my description now, as well as in all my other videos. You guys will be able to see all those prices down below, so it'll be really easy for you guys. Just a disclaimer, those are associate links in the description, so if you guys want to support the channel, it's a great way of doing so, and if you can, I would greatly appreciate it. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap that bell icon. I had a blast today heading on here with Caleb. So mission of the day was to test out the kayak upgrades, make sure that this beast is ready for my future adventures, and it looks like it is. It holds water, it does everything I need it to do. All of the upgrades work pretty good except the chip bag clip one, but other than that, it works great. So I think with full-fledged confidence we can say mission complete.